Hello people of BookTube, Megan here, and time for another video. Today I'm doing something a little different. I just want to say in advance, this is a likely idea that I was inspired to do by someone else. I can't remember. I just was going through my notebooks and saw this list I made, books that would have better, darker adaptions. I totally thought that I made this list and can't remember where I got the inspiration from, so just want to say this very likely isn't an original idea. Just throwing that out there. So this list consists of both young adult books, urban fantasy, and more adult books. Whether it's for a TV or a movie adaptation, doesn't matter. I just think that these series, if they were ever to be adapted or readapted, probably should be a bit darker. And I just want to put, or attempt to put into words, what I mean by darker, and also major apologies if none of this is making sense. I'm having some trouble putting what I feel into words today. When I think of a darker adaptation, I don't necessarily mean a darker tone all the time, nor do I think directors and screenwriters should change dialogue and take any humor that is in these series out. Like, I personally feel they tried to go with Percy Jackson, trying to age everything up and make it more suitable for a older audience, when instead they should have kept it more lighthearted like the original source material. I think what I'm trying to say is I feel like if any of these were to become an adaptation, I don't think that screenwriters or directors or anyone in this production should try and water any of the source material down and make it more, consumable. I don't think they should take out the violence or try and lessen it if it's in the series, or lessen trauma if it's part of a character's character and whatnot. If that makes sense. If there's a lot of violence in a series, they shouldn't try and take away from it or do the bare minimum. If this is a violent environment, if the situation is violent, someone is fighting for their life, they shouldn't try and sanitize that. I believe that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So when I talk about darker or more mature themes, that's what I mean. Or that's as close to what I mean as I can verbalize right now. And also, these are my opinions. Not to say that any of these adaptations necessarily be horrible. If things were changed or made a little more lighter, I personally feel these would be better if any adapters went all in. The first on this list already does have an adaptation to it, but it wasn't a full adaptation, I don't feel. And as much as I did enjoy what I've seen of that adaptation so far, I wish they could have expanded the universe more, and it is The Woman of the Otherworld by Kelly Armstrong. I enjoyed the Bitten TV show as an adaptation on its own. It was entertaining, it was nice, but I just feel it would have been cooler to have kind of the extended universe with not just the witches and werewolves, but with the half-demons and the vampires, and I feel it could have been really cool. The next book that I feel would definitely need a darker adaptation is the Three Dark Crowns series by Kendar Blake. I feel it would be very hard to kind of sanitize this series given the material. It is, I believe, considered young adult, but definitely would not be able to get away with a PG rating, I believe. I mean, the whole concept is three sisters who have to murder each other to decide who gets to be queen. That's kind of dark. And considering the means of murdering them usually consist of some form of elemental death, like fire or lightning, some kind of violent death via animal, or death through poison. I mean, more often than not, deaths through those kinds of means are not going to be pretty. Never mind the fact that there is a bear attack in this book. I'm not going to say on who or the situation because spoilers. Someone does get mauled by a bear. And not to mention, all the sneaky, dangerous, sketchy politics and stuff going on. This would definitely require a more darker adaptation. Next series is Penryn and the End of Days by Susan E. This probably isn't as dark as some of the other books on this series when it comes to like sex and whatnot. This series, from what I remember, it's been a hot minute since I've read it, there is some disturbing things in this book series, and I feel to kind of capture just how horrifying and scary some things are in this series, it definitely would have to have a darker adaptation, like No Stops Pulled, if that makes sense. Like, angels are coming and just killing everybody. One angel has his wings chopped off and is spending part of the series trying to get them back. Like, you're gonna have to go a darker route for this series. Next on this list, present Megan has some confusion over why past Megan put it on, but I can see why I did. It is the Vampire Academy / Bloodline series. I know there was that Vampire Academy movie a while ago, and as a movie, it was entertaining in itself. Like, it wasn't totally horrible, but as an adaptation, it could have been a whole lot better. I feel it has also been a hot minute since I've read either of these series, but I feel a darker adaptation is definitely the better way to go with these. There is quite a bit of death. There is sex, there's mature themes. Just feel it'd be better to have a, maybe not darker tone so much to say, but if this was to get another attempt or chance at an adaptation, maybe not go for quite as a Mean Girls vibe, if that's making sense. Like, naturally, there are some funny bits, there are some lighter bits in this series, it's not all gloom and doom, but I feel it needs a better balance. Next on this list is the Blood of Eden series by Julie Kagawa. Honestly, one of her underrated series in my opinion, but this one I definitely feel would need to be a little darker. I don't remember there being like any sex or anything, but there was quite a bit of fighting as I recall, and there was like some torture involved. There was some dark things in this series, and to kind of fully like grasp the horror and like the full potential of these fight scenes, I believe any adapters shouldn't be held back by like worrying about making it too gory or too much. Not to say I think it should be like super bad, but those fight scenes are gonna be intense. I don't know. I don't know how to describe how I'm picturing things. I just feel that kind of adaptation should be geared more towards a slightly mature audience. Anything by Holly Black. More specifically, like the Modern Fairy Tale series, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town especially, Darkest Part of the Forest, the Folk of the Air series. But especially, thinking about it, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town would definitely make a better adaptation for an older audience. Especially considering one of the first scenes is the main character waking up to a massacre is the only way I can describe it. Like, I feel if though anyone tried to like sanitize any of that, definitely feel to reach their full potential, those series would do better as a slightly more mature adaptation. Moving on. Next, I have the Throne of Glass series and the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. I feel that I don't need to elaborate any further on that. Just enough said, I believe, especially with ACOTAR. Next, I have the Rhaenyra books, as well as Legend of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan. These books are not young adult, so I feel kind of weird having this on this list, but I feel weird using the word dark for it, because there is humor, there's wholesomeness, there's camaraderie in these books, but I feel to kind of get their full potential in an adaptation, any adapters shouldn't be afraid to kind of go a little darker in certain parts of the books. Next, I have the Night Huntress series by Janine Frost. This is a paranormal romance series. Can be quite violent as well. I feel I don't have much to add to that, but yeah, I'd make a good darker adaptation. And finally, I got the Mercy Thompson and Alpha and Omega series by Patricia Briggs. Alpha and Omega can get very dark. And Mercy Thompson at its points can also get very dark. Though there is also quite a bit of humor and more lighthearted moments, especially in Mercy Thompson. A little bit in Alpha and Omega too, but more so in Mercy Thompson. So I do feel Alpha and Omega is the darker of the two series, but those two series definitely would not do being, like, watered down, for lack of better words. So yeah, that's my list of book series that I think would make good darker adaptions or would need darker adaptions. I'm sorry I didn't elaborate on some. I try not to go into spoilers for anything here, and I did struggle a lot in putting what I meant into words, so my apologies. So yeah, for anyone still watching, what are some book series that you think would make better, darker adaptions? What is also your definition of what dark is? Do you agree with any series I have on this list? Disagree? Let me know, let's get a discussion going. So yeah, that is it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.